Now is the time for mushroom hunting in the Pacific Northwest, so whether you forage them on your own or buy your mushrooms at the store, our first guest has a wonderful way to use them. Here with her recipe for wild mushroom risotto, we welcome back cooking instructor Katie Cook. It is smelling so good in here already.
And we just have garlic, onions, some basic mushrooms. I'm using creminis in this right now.
Only the best things.
Only the best things. Yeah, I've added some sherry and let that reduce down, and then hot stock.
Okay.
But before we get to that, let's talk about these beauties.
Let's talk mushrooms.
Yeah. So fortunate enough in my workplace right now that we were given some. Lobster mushrooms.
Those are so cool.
I know, right?
Yeah.
As well as some chanterelles. These are just creminis that you get at any store, or baby portobellos.
Okay.
And then here, because it's not morel season typically yet, usually that's in the springtime.
Oh, okay.
We have dried morels.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, so you can preserve mushrooms with a lot of flavor by drying them and then grinding them into a powder.
Oh, there you
like
go.
This. So this is actually going to get added into our risotto as well.
Okay.
And that's going to help to really amplify.
I bet that has a ton of flavor in just a pinch of that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. So that'll go in here as well.
Now risotto takes time, right?
It does. It takes a good amount of time. There are some kind of like cheater ones that you can do in a pressure cooker, or you can put it in your pot and then put it in your oven and let it go in your crock pot. I am kind of a purist and traditionalist.
Yeah.
I want to put in the work for that extra flavor. Agitating the rice and stirring it regularly is helping to release the starches.
Oh.
This is all done with Arborio rice, which is a short grain, so it's got lots and lots of starch to release.
Nice.
And that's what makes risotto so creamy and so wonderful to eat. It is also what makes it really easy to modify for dietary restrictions, because you don't necessarily have to add dairy to this to have it be really unctuous. And
yeah, you can still get that creaminess without adding in those ingredients. That's cool. I didn't realize that.
Yeah. The big thing about it is that you can see I'm kind of constantly stirring, but more than that, I wait for the liquid to dissolve until I can kind of run my spoon through it and it holds. And then I add in more hot stock. You have to have your stock be hot too, so that it doesn't take down the temperature.
This is I'm going to schedule a day to make my risotto, because I know it takes time, but the payoff is always going to be so great.
Schedule an hour.
There you go.
It's not going to take. It's not going to take.
Watch
that
your favorite
much time.
show while you make it.
Yeah.
There you go. One episode.
One episode, maybe two, depending on what you're going for. So unless you have good knowledge of mushrooms, I don't typically recommend going out and foraging on your own.
Oh, right, of course.
You would want to either buy them at the grocery store or farmer's market, or go with someone who really knows what they're doing.
For sure.
I am not a forager. I would like more experience in that, but I do know what to look for when I go to the grocery store and I see things.
Please share with us what to look for.
Absolutely. So you want to make sure that they're nice and moist, but not damp. You don't want them to be wet.
Okay.
When you're picking them up at the store, that means they've been sitting a while and they're starting to turn a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you want them to be firm. Chanterelles in particular can start to kind of go fast if you don't store them well. So you want to put them in an open container and maybe cover them with a paper towel, but don't cover them with plastic or put them in Tupperware. That'll limit their shelf life quite a bit. One of the reasons why I say to not necessarily go out foraging on your own is that chanterelles have a sister mushroom that looks really, really similar that is not okay to eat.
Dangerous.
It's dangerous. So, you know, trust people who have more experience than you, or just pick them up at the grocery store. We've been really fortunate right now that we're getting a ton of lobster mushrooms that have this beautiful orange color, but also they smell kind of like lobster.
They kind of do.
Yeah, and that's because there's a secondary fungus that actually inoculates this. So chanterelles can even become lobster mushrooms.
Whoa.
And end up turning orange and growing larger.
That's cool.
Isn't that so fascinating?
Science lesson.
Talk about like a great substitution for like a protein if you're vegan or vegetarian. This makes such a great one.
Okay.
We did a seafood dinner at the kitchen at Middle Ground Farms the other night and had these as our lobster substitute.
Oh, that's so fun.
Isn't that super fun?
What a great idea.
So another misnomer, you can absolutely wash most mushrooms in water.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I thought you're not supposed to.
Well, you can.
I'm so confused.
You can, especially ones like morels. Like they have all these nooks and crannies. The best way to wash them is actually submerging them in water and agitating them over and over. That'll help you get all of the like pine needles in out, because they grow in like pine needles and dirt and all this other stuff.
They're in the wild.
Yeah, people say not to do that very much because they're worried about the additional moisture, because mushrooms release so much moisture when they cook.
Right.
So if you want to get a really good sear, honestly, especially with a more expensive mushroom like these chanterelles or the lobster mushrooms, don't use any oil at all.
Oh.
You dry saute them.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
How could you do such a thing?
Because they already have so much moisture inside them already. So you don't even have to do that. If you don't want to, like say you have particularly dirty mushrooms, you can actually just use a dry brush and use that to get rid of any visible dirt that you're seeing and brush out any of that kind of stuff.
Very nice. And you probably want to do this even if you've bought them from a store or a market. You want to do a little once over and make sure they're good to go.
Even if you've bought them at a store or market or something like that, they're still going to have some debris.
Okay. Look at this goodness coming together. It smells so good.
Absolutely.
This is such a good way to welcome the fall season too.
I've been super in love with this dish, so I use sherry. You can use any white wine.
Okay.
The key, and I believe it's in the recipe that I gave you guys, the key is really toasting your rice. So when you first start your risotto, you've got some of your aromatics in there, like your onion. I usually wait to do garlic because it can burn really easily, so I wait until I start adding liquid to do my garlic. You want to toast your rice, constantly agitating it, and what you're looking for is that when you pull out a piece, you can break it into 2 or 3 pieces.
Okay.
By just pinching it, like a light pinch.
Oh, okay.
And that'll tell you that you've toasted enough that you're ready to start adding liquid.
There's some good TLC going into this dish. Every step is important to get the finished product, just so.
Yeah.
Okay.
And like I said, we use sherry for this because that's a natural accompaniment for mushrooms. But you can absolutely use a different white wine.
Okay.
Or any white wine that you have around the house. So what I like to do now that we're about there, I'm gonna really get heavy with the salt.
Ooh, okay.
Because this is a starch. Think of it like mashed potatoes,
oh,
right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That needs a little bit extra. So we're gonna do a little extra salt, some pepper, and you don't have to, but I really like finishing my risotto with a little bit of creme fraiche. You could use heavy cream, you can use Parmesan.
That's the good stuff though.
Yeah, whatever your heart is telling you.
Okay.
So.
Look at this. Oh, that looks gorgeous.
Yeah, and you really want it, you want to still be able to feel the individual grains in your bite.
Right.
You don't want it
mush.
to just be mush.
Yeah, okay.
This is very hot.
Okay, it's hot.
Very hot. So we're going to blow on it.
It smells so good. Have you burned off all your taste buds doing this over the years though?
I don't have any nerve endings in my tongue left. It's the same thing for my fingers.
Right?
I grab very hot things.
Okay, let me see. Oh my gosh, that's so good.
Thank you. I hope everyone enjoys it as much as you do.
Oh my gosh, the creaminess with all this flavors packed in.
Yeah, I have a little bit of a nutmeg nut here. That's one of the ways that I really like to finish a mushroom risotto. Give you that little bit extra.
Thank you so much for sharing with us today.
You're so
We
welcome.
learned so much, and that was delicious. We'll have more information on our website at katu.com. We'll be right back with more Afternoon Live right after this.